Alright, what's up everybody, it's Sam from Bet. In this video I'll be doing my full card predictions, bets, picks, and the breakdowns for UFC 264, Poirier versus McGregor 3. I'll divide these videos as follows. First I'll talk about all the picks and the bets, then on to the breakdowns at the end. If you'd like to support the channel, feel free to stick around, I'll show you my Patreon. The only caveat here is this is the way I'm doing things, so if you'd like to follow anything that I'm doing here, feel free to do it as long as you take full responsibility for it. Alright, there is a disclaimer in the description. Alright guys, so real quick, just the past results for what I have for the current year. The thing that I didn't show yet in this video was the last card, UFC on ESPN 65. I had a small loss. This is 0.65 units or 10% if I'm considering the card, right? But the accumulated profit for the year is 700%, and the accumulated profit in unit size or percentage, I have like 52%. Or 52 units for the year, and I'm accumulating 113 units from the start of the channel, right? If you have never seen this, there is a link in the description as well. I separate the bets that I take in high, medium, and low quality, and I have per segment here my performance, all right? So you guys can see here in this chart as well, and this is the evolution through time. As you guys know, if I have wins or losses, I don't hide anything. For June, I'm down 7 units or 7%, been a quite tough months, a little bit, you know, some losses that I was not expecting, some cards, but hopefully things will take off. I still have one card to go at the time that I'm recording this video. UFC Fight Night 190 hasn't yet taken place at the time that I'm recording this, so hopefully it'll be a good card. Alright, so on to this card, UFC 264. Like I said, I'm gonna now be talking about all the picks and the bets. This is not in order, then I'll be breaking down more like in order of the lineup of the card, but if something is not in order here, I apologize because I just put these things together as the order that I was reviewing them. Alright, so Max Griffin and Carlos Condit. I'm picking Griffin, but a small bet on Condit, 0.5% or half unit. SeanBrady versus Kevin Lee. I'm picking and betting Lee, 0.75% of my money. Zhalgas Zhumagulov versus Jerome Rivera. Picking Zhumagulov, not betting the fight. Alen Amedovski versus Hu Yaozong. Picking and betting Yaozong, 1% of my money. Brett Tavares versus Omari Akhmedov. Picking Tavares but not betting the fight. Jennifer Maia versus Jessica I. I'm picking Maia but betting I, 1% of my money. Michel Pereira versus Niko Price. Picking and betting Pereira, 0.75%. Trevin Giles versus DuPlessis. Picking Giles but not betting the fight. Stephen Thompson versus Gilbert Burns. Picking and betting Thompson, 0.5% of my money. Ilia Topuria versus Ryan Hall. Picking and betting Hall, 1.25% of my money. No, I'm sorry, I'm picking Topuria but betting Hall, 1.25% of my money on Hall. Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy. I'm picking Hardy but not betting the fight. Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunitskaya. I'm picking Kunitskaya and betting 0.5% of my money on her. Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. I'm picking Poirier. Yeah, I was trying to go back and forth here. I'm picking Poirier but not betting the fight. Alright, so on to the breakdowns as I have spoken about. It's quite a big card. I'm gonna try to be concise here, guys. Feel free to let me know how you are betting this card, if you like my picks, but do you agree, what you don't. Alright, so between Amedovski and Ilia Topuria, it's an interesting one because both of these guys are fairly inexperienced, especially Yaozong, who fought in the heavyweight division, then he dropped to light heavyweight, which looked quite lean, and now he's dropping to middleweight, which is interesting. He's a quite big guy for the division, 6'3", even though he's not that long. He's quite a big one, you know, has a big frame for the weight class. And he's more like a striker, you know, he has good power on the hands, even though he has some wrestling background with the Greco-Roman, but he doesn't use this quite often. Amedovski is a guy that's known by his striking, but to be honest, he fares better when he grapples. I think he's gonna probably try to come with a mixed approach here. It would be smart of him to try to wrestle Yaozong, because he's the better wrestler, at least from what I've seen, despite the credentials that Yaozong has, you know, but there's gonna be a massive size discrepancy here. Amedovski is 5'10", Yaozong is 6'3", you know, and like I said, Yaozong is not a lean guy, he's a big guy. There's a question on the weight cut as well for Yaozong, but he's a young guy, he's only 26, so he shouldn't be a problem for him. Also long layoff, he's probably been prepared for this for quite a while. So it's a quite tough one to predict. I'm going Yaozong by TKO. I think he's gonna be able to outland Amedovski, use his range, use his frame a little bit more. He has more power, more natural power than Amedovski. But like I said, there's a risk here that is Amedovski wrestling. This guy is a good wrestler. He has good control, and I didn't like too much what I've seen from Yaozong from his back. So there's a question there. But again, Yaozong, young guy, good camps, going through different big camps. I think this guy gonna become prepared and finish Amedovski. All right, these are my calculations. I have Yaozong as a favorite. The line shows the opposite, so that's why it makes sense to bet Yaozong in my eyes, but it's a small one for me. Zhalgas Zhumagulov versus Rivera, Jerome Rivera. Rivera is a very tall guy, for the division, 5'10", super long, 72 inches for a flyweight. It's pretty long. Zhalgas is a shorter guy, 5'4", not the longest. But in terms of skills, Zhalgas is a little bit better. He hits a little bit harder, has better angles, better counter-striking, times things better, more accuracy. Jerome, not bad volume, but the problem is he doesn't quite use his reach so well as he should. He kind of crashes distance, gives opening when he strikes. He's been TKO'd before. So this is a fight for Zhalgas to win, but again, it's tough to bet Zhalgas, at least in my eyes, because there's such a massive range or discrepancy here. Rivera, at some point, he's going to have to learn to use his range. I think he's probably improving that little by little. We could see something close here if he can manage the range better, calm down his emotions, not give too many openings for Zhalgas. Zhalgas doesn't hit that hard, even though he has some power. He could put Jerome out if Jerome keeps the chin up and starts getting hit. But Rivera is Zhalgas is not a big puncher, so that makes these things quite tricky to bet. If you're gonna force me to bet the current lines, probably I would go Rivera because plus 200 dogs sounds like a better deal to me. But Rivera by decision will probably be the best bet in this fight here. I expect that he climbs up to plus 450 as an underdog by decision, which would be a very good bet in my opinion. I have him like at least 20% chances to win a decision over Zhalgas, so to me it would make sense to bet Rivera from plus 400 range. So that's the best that I'm interested into. I would like to take this over props, but I think gonna be an expensive line. So let's see how this plays out. But my pick is Zhalgas by decision. I am expecting that Rivera doesn't make so many mistakes, but still gets hit quite often, etc. So Zhalgas by decision is not a bad idea, but I think this line gonna be expensive. Between Zhalgas by decision or Zhalgas straight bet, I would throw Zhalgas in some parlays, but again, to me it's a dog or pass on this one. So Tavares versus Akhmedov. Another interesting one. Tavares is known by his striking, takedown defense, quite explosive guy, powerful. He's fighting Akhmedov, which is a very strong and compact middleweight. This guy wrestles pretty well. Does fairly decent on the striking. He's not technical, more like a brawler, but he mixes in when with the takedowns, which makes it tough to strike with him. So I'm rating them quite similar everywhere. Akhmedov could have an extra edge on the ground game here, but he's not much of a BJJ player. Doesn't have that great control. Even though he's a quite strong one, he's not like a big or huge middleweight. I know that people talk a lot about his size, but he's more like a lean middleweight, very compact and strong. But not like a huge man. So I think gonna be back and forth here. Is a tough one to predict. It will depend a lot on if Akhmedov can keep Tavares on the back foot and wrestle him. I'm back and forth there because Tavares has a good takedown defense, but I'm not sure he's gonna be able to really stuff every single takedown and dominate on the feet. I think gonna be fairly competitive on the feet. Akhmedov could be a small favorite here if he can out wrestle Tavares, but I'm giving a little bit more edge to Tavares, due to the UFC experience and being a little bit bigger, having a little bit more power on the feet. So I ended up going Tavares by decision. But again, this is probably my bet here would be Akhmedov by decision, because as an underdog, I expect that he climbs up to plus 250. So I would take a bet on Akhmedov by decision, alright? This would be my comments for you guys. These are my calculations. I have this as a 50-50 basically. To me, anybody can finish by TKO with a small chance, but most likely by decision. Jennifer Maia versus Jessica Ai. Interesting one in the flyweight division for women. I have them quite similar fighters, both in the way they're built and the skill set. Maia has a little bit more kickboxing, whereas Ai has a little bit more boxing oriented in their styles. Maia does a little bit better job using her size, and her strengths in the clinch. And Maia and Ai, she has that a little bit. She's not a bad wrestler, but she doesn't use it often. But either way, guys, I think Maia is just a small favorite just because of this extra edge, at least from what she has proven in the clinch. If Ai accepts that, she's gonna get clinched, then controlled, gonna get angry that she's losing the fight in a stall manner. But I don't know. I could win this fight, guys, because I'm gonna be competitive on the feet. Maia has a little bit more kicks, but Ai at her best, she could make this one competitive. They are pretty much, again, very similar in terms of power and skill sets. So to me, it's a pick 'em again. I have Maia as a very small favorite. That's why I'm picking her by decision. But I'm betting Ai, throwing her some parlays. Expect to take her by decision at plus 250. Because I think she's gonna come ready. She has 2 losses in a row. She has 2 at some point. And I expect that Ai gonna bring her best here. Expect Maia also to bring her best shape. So it could be back and forth, split decision included to either one. But to me, it's definitely a dog or pass here. Alright, these are my calculations. On to the next fight, Ilia Topuria versus Ryan Hall. Very interesting one, very tricky one. Everybody knows. Actually, not everybody, but if you know MMA, you know Ryan Hall, what he does. He's basically a grappler, but he's a very tricky one. This guy has evolved into an interesting striking style as well, which he basically he abuses on kicks because nobody wants to take him down. Simple as that. This guy is a wizard on the ground. His nickname is a wizard, and the leg locks of this guy is really unreal. It's really like between the BJJ specialist, he's a specialist on the leg lock. It's extremely dangerous to fight this guy. He pulls guard, he goes for Imanari rolls, which is that roll that he tangles the people's legs, He's fighting Topuria, which is a young guy, hungry, hard hitting guy, but not the biggest guy for the division. Hall has the reach and the height here, which makes things interesting because again, he's gonna keep on the outside kicking. It's gonna be very interesting to see what Topuria gonna do in this fight because he cannot close the gap too much because he's gonna get tangled and he's gonna have to start defending leg locks, which is a big risk against Hall. But I don't know what he's gonna do here again, guys. I think he's probably gonna try to close the gap and land on to Hall's body, try to finish him with body shots or something would be the best for him here. But still, he's a young guy and he seems to have the head in the right place, but I think he's probably gonna get frustrated in this fight because Hall not gonna give him openings. Hall is under a good training, under a good camp as well, so it's tricky to me. I ended up going to Topuria. I'm going by decision, but I have this 50-50. I'm gonna be betting Hall here, like I said, and Hall could edge him on a decision, in a boring fight, let's put it this way, on the outside, making better with the grappling transitions. Hall could sub Topuria. Topuria could TKO Hall if he starts landing to the body. So it's a tricky one. It's difficult to predict what's going to happen. It's going to depend a lot on Topuria. Like I said, his game plan. But yeah, I'm going to be rewarding a little bit more the use here. But to me, in terms of bet, the value is on Hall. Alright? These are my calculations, guys. To me, it's a pick, and like I said. Trevin Giles versus Dricus DuPlessis. Another interesting one, should be a close one. 2 decent kickboxers going at each other. DuPlessis, more like a powerful guy with more like simple combinations. Giles, more like an explosive guy that likes to put on combos, starts, explosive jab, sharp 1-2s, then he slows down a little bit. He could grapple a little bit, but he's not outstanding anywhere. Neither is DuPlessis. DuPlessis does a good job with the grappling, but he doesn't wrestle much. So it's quite, even in this regard. None of these guys are the most consistent. So I have them rated pretty similarly. What's going to happen here? I expect that Giles is going to put on the pressure. We're going to see DuPlessis trying to bang with him a little bit. DuPlessis has a little bit more power. natural power. Giles a little bit faster, more explosive. I think DuPlessis gonna try to take Giles down. He may be able. We'll see how Giles gonna respond to that. In general, he responds well. He's not a bad grappler. He's tough to hold down. So I'm back and forth here. I ended up going Giles. I was thinking of betting Giles, you know, since this is a pick him also in the bookies, but end up passing because, like, again, I don't trust Giles too much, to be honest, guys. I have a feeling that at any point he can drop the ball and just come and not perform well. So I'm gonna pass on this one. Probably Giles gonna win this, but let's see what's gonna happen. All right, so I have Giles by decision. Probably the decision prop is not a bad one here because both of these guys are tough. But both of them can finish each other. They have decent power. They both make mistakes, you know. So they both make mistakes. Sorry. So we'll see. These are my calculations, guys. Pereira versus Niko Price. Michel Pereira, I'm rating him pretty well. I think this guy is an excellent fighter. I know that he used to be too playful and more like you know, having too much fun in the octagon. But this guy, once he puts up himself, he composes himself, he puts himself together. This guy's a dangerous guy. He's a big one for the division. Hits hard, sharp, everywhere, very all-rounded, good grappler, you know, decent wrestler, big guy for the division. Like I said, he's tough, has a good chin, you know. He has the athleticism as the most notable fact about him, you know. So this guy has everything to be the champion. He just needs to get the head right and hone some skills. He's fighting Niko Price, which is a very tough guy that takes risk, brings fun favorite, gets inside guys, starts throwing heavily, kicks, swings, you know, can wrestle too. Pretty good everywhere. Price, you know. I ended up going Pereira here. I think it's gonna be quite too much for Price, to be honest, guys. As good as Price is, I think Pereira, at his best, he's on a different level because this guy has straight punches. He can be calm and fine timing with those flying knees, those acrobacies. I'm not gonna even put too much here because more like it just burns his energy. But this guy using flashy techniques at the right time, he has this skill, you know. Plus, he's a big one for the division. He could out wrestle Price here, you know, because he can explode to takedowns. He could out grapple Price from top. But again, Price gonna bring it, guys. Don't take it wrong. I'm not underestimating him. I know that he's a tough guy. He's gonna come forward. We're gonna see Pereira tested. I think Pereira basically gonna pass the test against Price because Price makes more mistakes. Chin is up, gets hit quite a bit. I don't think he's gonna last too long against Pereira if he brings the same game plan, which is most likely, right? I don't expect Price to be a technical guy, you know, from nowhere. So I think Price gonna come forward, gonna try to put Pereira out, gonna end up being put out, right? So this is Pereira for me by TKO. Not too confident, obviously, you know, and the lines show him as a strong favorite. I'm betting him a little bit, you know, less than 1% of my money is throwing him in parlays. But it will be a test for him, will be a test for both of these guys, right? These are my calculations. Carlos Condit versus Max Griffin. I didn't update this one. Give me a second. Alright, so between Carlos Condit and Max Griffin, basically it's gonna depend a lot on Griffin's game plan. I think he's gonna bring the right one. Griffin is known by his toughness. He's well-rounded game. He's pretty good everywhere, but not stellar anywhere. I like him moving to better camps, you know. So you can see his improvements, you know, in the last couple of fights. He's a little bit more calm, you know, not taking too many risks. And he's a big guy for the division, pretty decent wrestler. He's fighting Condit, which is a very tough guy. Good striker, you know, even though he's a little bit unorthodox, he doesn't have like quite clean technique, you know. His technique's not bad, but he doesn't fight as most of the guys. He uses a little bit different angles and he kicks, you know, more often than the guys, you know. So you can put it that he's slightly unorthodox. He's a tall, long guy for the division. Griffin's not that tall, but he's pretty long too. Honestly, guys, it will depend a lot on Griffin's game plan. If he's gonna stand and bang with Condit, I think Condit has the edge. We'll see probably Griffin trying to out-wrestle Condit, which is not difficult, but it's difficult to out-grapple Condit, to control him. Condit has fought many wrestlers throughout the years, never was able to quite get his takedown defense ready. I think he has probably some flexibility issues or something like this on his legs, that he doesn't quite have the legs in a way that he can really stuff those takedowns. If you see when he defends, he doesn't quite sprawl too much. Not sprawl in the sense that he doesn't have a wide base or something. But still, yeah, the fact here is that he doesn't have good takedown defense, but still he's a tough guy. He's a good grappler, tough to hold down. I expect that he gets taken down, but not controlled much. Griffin makes some mistakes, and he has been recently closing those openings that he had in the past. But it's a close fight in my eyes, at least. Could be a wide spread, like I'm putting here. Griffin could be nearly 70% favorite if he can out wrestles and hold Condit down. I don't think gonna be that easy. I think Condit gonna again bring the right game plan. Gonna make it a close fight on the feet. Griffin probably gonna take him down. He's gonna get back up. So to me, it's back and forth here. It's more like Griffin being a 55% favorite, something like that. So I'm going Griffin by decision, but I have small bets on Condit just to see if Griffin gonna really be able to execute such a game plan on a veteran like Condit. I think gonna be competitive. I'm willing to take an extra small risk here, given that Condit doesn't defend well takedowns. But we'll see what happens. This one probably gonna go to the decision, which makes the decision prop quite interesting, depending on the price. I have it nearly 60% going to the decision. So these are my calculations. Like I said, to me it's nearly a pick'em. Okay. Feel free to pause here. SeanBrady versus Kevin Lee. Excellent fight, high level. This one, I like this fight. Both of these guys are excellent. Everywhere Brady does a better job in my eyes, at least when he's on the back foot, because he uses more angles. He's tougher to hit, than Lee. He has good angles, good timing on his overhand counters. He times guys well with the jabs, good leg kicks when guys come in. On the front foot, he's not bad, but he doesn't quite put too much pressure. He's also not that tall, so he gets 3 stars here. Has decent power, but again, I think he does better when he counters guys that overextend, etc. On the ground, Brady's excellent, high level BJJ guy, good wrestler. Not getting 5-star here because he doesn't use often enough in my eyes, and also he's not an excellent wrestler, But he's a pretty consistent guy, big guy for the division, even though he's not that tall. I can say similar things about Kevin Lee. A little bit different styles. I like Lee a little bit better on the front foot when he's pushing guys back with the 1-2s, with his kicks. Defensively he gets hit quite a bit, but it's not that easy to deal with him because he stands the ground, throw down, has power. Grappling, he's a pretty great grappler. He's not at Brady's level on the pure BJJ, but he mixes well with MMA, with the strikes on the ground. He doesn't get submitted so easily. So both of these guys are really excellent, on the ground as well. To me, the one taking the top position has the edge here, as good as Brady is, as technical as Brady is. I don't think gonna be easy to handle Lee from his back, So basically, to me, it's pretty much a very close fight 50-50. Will depend, honestly, on Lee's improvement. I think Lee gonna bring an interesting game plan here. He's now in TriStar. I think he's gonna use his range. He has a quite significant range advantage here, probably 3-4 inches, because he has long arms. But they're pretty much the same height, so it's not that significant, Plus, we'll see if it's gonna be, honestly, Lee's offensive striking against Brady's defensive striking, especially the guy that's gonna be able to impose the wrestling on the other, gonna win this fight. The one who takes the other down and is able to hold the other down gonna win the fight. Tough to tell, I know that Brady has a little bit more size than Lee. He's a little bit has more mass on that frame. But Lee's not a small guy. He's a young guy, 28 years old, so he's at his physical prime. He could handle Brady. It's not that significant as well, the size advantage on Brady's. So to me, again, 50-50. Lee has more experience, even though he has obviously more losses than Brady. Brady has no losses. So again, guys, pick your poison here. Both of these guys excellent, And I'm going Lee. I have a feeling that he's going to be able to use the reach a little bit better, do a little bit more damage, make it competitive with the wrestling, I don't think anybody gonna finish each other. I don't see submissions to any side, you know. So I didn't put the correct here. Give me a second. Like I said, to me it's a pick 'em. I have 50-50. So feel free to pause here, take a look at this. You know, but again, since it's a 50-50, to me it makes sense to bet Lee. Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunitskaya. Great, good fight in the women's bantamweight division. Aldana, more like a boxer, likes to stay on the outside, 1-2s, hits an angle, come again. Not bad on the clinch, you know, both neither offensively, neither defensively. Pretty good grappler from her back. I liked what I've seen from her. Quite big girl for the division. I can say quite different things about Kunitskaya, to be honest. Kunitskaya, she has a taekwondo background, but she's not a great striker, you know. She lacks a little bit speed and power in my eyes, you know. On the defensive part, not so bad. She has good angles, you know. But on the offensive part, it lacks effectiveness, power. Like I said, you know, she likes to kick a lot, but she doesn't quite do much damage or is not that effective, you know. I like her a little bit on the clinch, you know. Actually, I like her a lot on the clinch. She's one of the best clinch. Has one of the best clinch games in the women's MMA. She reminds a little bit me of Randy Couture, you know, like person that beats the other on the cage. She's very physically strong for the division. Not very physically, but she has a strong upper body, you know. So it fares her style pretty well, that clinch game. She's patient, she holds her opponents there, keep landing knees, then the opponent gives an opening, she takes them down and holds down. So it's not easy to fight Kunitskaya, you know. Aldana, to me, she's slightly overrated, and the reason is she doesn't quite take much risks, you know. She's kind of always weary when she's throwing those shots, you know. She doesn't like getting hit. I think we're gonna see Kunitskaya being able to stay on the outside, eventually clinching Aldana and holding her on the clinch. You know, I think Aldana could start getting frustrated. She's not gonna take risks because it's not her style. And then I think she's gonna get clinched again. She may even get taken down, you know. Kunitskaya from top, she's not a nightmare, but she's pretty great. You guys saw against Kathleen Vieira with those elbows, etc. You know, she has a long body and a strong upper body, so it favors those elbows pretty well. So I think Kunitskaya gonna get the better here. You know, she's under the better camp as well, so it makes sense to bet Kunitskaya in my eyes. It's nearly a pick 'em, you know, because Aldana, again, tall, long girl, you know, good boxing, great angles, fast, you know, so it could be close. Aldana could win this one, but I think most likely Kunitskaya get inside and being able to control Aldana and doing her work from there. Alright, so let me just, as we are here, just to show you guys from the spreadsheet. So to me it's a 50-50 fight. There's not so much variance. I think it's quite predictable, this fight, because they both have quite consolidated styles. They're quite predictable on what they're gonna do, so there's not too much to go rather than it's nearly a 50-50 fight. Alright, so feel free to pause here, guys. On to the next fight, Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy. Good one in the heavyweight division. You can say prospect. Both of these guys are pretty young, especially Tuivasa. Tuivasa a little bit more well-rounded, has proven himself better. Good cardio, you know, even though he doesn't look like a guy that has good cardio, he does. Pretty good everywhere, as you guys see here. He's not stellar anywhere. He's catching up with his effectiveness. Greg Hardy is a guy that evolved pretty well, pretty fast in MMA, you know. He started more like a brawler, like explosive, huge guy, brawler. To me, he evolved into a pretty great striker. I'm impressed with what I've seen from him, you know. Calm, composed, good straight shots, you know. Patient, great angles, you know, doesn't overextend much. So to me, in the heavyweight division, he definitely deserves 4-star. The problem that this guy focused probably so much on the striking that he's lagging a little bit behind on the ground game, you know. He doesn't pretty much have anything, you know. He's a very big and explosive guy. It's not easy to take him down because he has naturally good balance, etc. But I'm not rating him well because he lacks a little bit the technique to defend. Probably you guys gonna tell me about his cardio. It's true, you know, he has a cardio issues. I think he has probably some issues because of his asthma or something that he has, right? So, and also he's fairly inexperienced. But again, this guy is so explosive and tough that, given the other attributes, he deserves 4-star here. So to me, guys, it's a pick and fight. Could go either way. If Tuivasa wants to win here, he's gonna have to grapple Hardy. Not gonna be easy because Hardy gonna land heavy when Tuivasa closes the gap. I don't think Tuivasa gonna like to get hit by Hardy. So to me, it's a pick 'em. Hardy by decision may sound crazy to some of you because of the cardio again, but I expect that in a 3-round fight and Tuivasa not having so much technique, not so much wrestling, he's gonna probably get picked apart a little bit more. He could even wrestle and hold Hardy on the cage, but I think Hardy could do more damage, and edge him in a decision. Hardy doesn't have that bad cardio, at least in my eyes, It's not good, of course, he has problems there, but again, in the heavyweight division, he fairly is pretty average with the cardio. I think Tuivasa has the cardio edge here. He could push and hold Hardy on the cage, wear on him, so this is possible. That's why Ty is has a good line on him as well. This is a pick him also by the bookies. This is the reason, But Hardy definitely has the striking edge, And these are my comments, my calculations, guys. Feel free to pause here. Sugar O'Malley versus Luis Smolka. I think this fight has cancelled, hasn't it? But okay. So Sugar O'Malley is a very tall and long bantamweight. Probably you guys know him. I think probably everybody knows him by this time. Flashy on the techniques, fast, accurate. Good defense, takedown defense, and pretty okay grappler. Not a bad grappler. Luis Smolka is a guy that's known by his toughness. His risk-taking approach, gets inside, throws down, goes to the body, shoots. He goes for submission before position, which is not advised in BJJ, but he does. Sometimes he catches guys, because he keeps going. He has a great cardio, but it's gonna be difficult for him against Sugar because there is a massive striking technical advantage for O'Malley. The reach, the speed, Smolka also makes more mistakes on the feet, so O'Malley has the technique. I would like Smolka to control O'Malley when he closes the gap. I don't think he's gonna do because it's not his style. Probably he's gonna keep coming, keep fishing for submissions, which gives more chances for O'Malley to escape. That's why this matchup is quite bad here for Smolka, But Smolka gonna take the risks, guys. We're gonna see O'Malley. If he doesn't KO Smolka fast enough, we're gonna see O'Malley getting pushed back, start getting hit on the body. O'Malley had problems before, especially the beginning of his career in the UFC. He had some injuries on his leg. He lost by leg injury to Chito Vera. He's gonna get pushed back. He's not the most physically imposing guy. Even though he's tall and long, etc. His frame is more like a thin frame, like a skinny frame. So it's gonna be interesting to see when he starts getting hit to the body against a guy like Smolka that's gonna take chances. But again, to me, O'Malley finishes Smolka. But it makes interesting the thought that Smolka gonna stay on his face and gonna make it a dogfight, basically. I think gonna be interesting to see that. If Smolka climbs to plus 300, plus 350 dog, I would take Smolka, But for now, I'm gonna pass on this one and just gonna go O'Malley TKO and watch it. All right, these are my calculations. Stephen Thompson versus Gilbert Burns. Good fight, not striker versus grappler, because Thompson is primarily a striker, obviously, but Burns is no longer primarily a grappler. This guy has good stand-up, explosive with the 1-2s, with the body kicks, has good combos, with again 1-2 body kick, liver shot, shoots, good wrestler, awesome grappler, high level BJJ competitor. I understand why the lines are close, but to me this stylistic matchup favors Thompson a little bit better. The reason is Burns, he has to take chances to outstrike and to out-wrestle Thompson. Thompson evolved in a pretty great takedown defense. He's not getting 4-star here on the defensive grappling because he doesn't have much BJJ. But it's very difficult to take Thompson down. He's a big guy for the division, pretty strong, fought with lots of wrestlers, high-level experience. So he knows what he has to do. Burns will know what he has to do. Great fight. I ended up going Thompson. I'm betting him a little bit. I think we'll see him controlling the distance and being able to keep Burns at bay. Burns also cannot risk too much because his hand's gonna drop eventually, as the fight goes on. He's not gonna start getting hit clean by Thompson, a big guy, so, and literally heavy-handed. So to me, Gilbert Burns gonna at some point have to slow down the pace. Probably Thompson by decision, even though Thompson could KO Burns, But to me, it makes sense to bet Thompson a little bit, but nothing crazy. Durinho will bring it. We'll bring the heavy striking, wrestling, so we'll see what's gonna happen. But to me, Thompson has a small edge on this one, alright? But just a little bit. In the main event, McGregor versus Poirier, most awaited fight, probably for most of the fans. It's a good fight, again, we know. I don't know, to me it's pretty obvious what's gonna be here. Gonna be McGregor trying to, use his cardio better, because he guessed. When he gets finished. He's training cardio more, so we're gonna see him probably improving there, being able to make it competitive, preserving his energy a little bit better. He's the better striker. At his best, he's one of the best strikers in the lightweight division. Pretty naturally heavy-handed, super accuracy, super timing, as he claims it, he owns it. Poirier, super tough guy, very consistent. He's been around crazy. This guy, he's probably nowadays 31, 32, which is really ridiculous. 10 years ago when I started watching MMA and betting MMA, he was there, he's still there, So this guy is a great fighter as well. And we'll see, Poirier he knows what he has to do. He has to wear on McGregor, try to slow him down. McGregor knows what he has to do. He has to keep the range. We'll see what's gonna happen. I ended up going Poirier by decision. I'm rewarding consistency a little bit better here, Actually, when I made these calculations, I was with my head a little bit more on their last fight, But it's more close to a pick'em, I don't blame people who are picking and betting McGregor, because McGregor, again, at his best, he can win. He can finish Poirier. He could even win a decision against Poirier, because he can do more damage, control the range better. Poirier will try to wrestle, hold him. We'll have some success, no doubt about it. But McGregor can do more damage, etc. So it's a pick'em to me, way closer to a pick'em than Poirier as a strong favorite, But again, I'm going to reward Poirier, his consistency a little bit more, I'm not gonna assume that McGregor is gonna be at his best and gonna have his cardio in high level because he disappointed before, So just giving the facts here. I'm not a Poirier boy or a McGregor fan or whatever. To me, it's just more like a business in this regard, So to me, it's nearly a pick'em fight, and McGregor has more chances for the KO. It's gonna be a finish. Most likely gonna be McGregor, and this after learning from his mistakes in his last fight. To me, Poirier has more chances on decision. That's why I ended up going Poirier by decision. But definitely McGregor also has chances to win by decision. And probably, guys, the best bet here would be fight go to the distance, because the line is good there, and the people expect that they're gonna finish each other. But I don't think they're gonna finish each other in this fight. Like I said, McGregor probably gonna bring a paced approach, a decent cardio. Poirier, even though he can get KO'd, it's not easy because he's a tough guy, he has a decent chin. All right. So stay alert for that. All right. So guys, I hope you liked. If you did, please like, subscribe. Let me just show you guys the Patreon real quick. So I have 3 tiers for you guys for $10 a month. It's the early bets. In this card, for example, when I bet him was plus 210. Now he's at plus 180. Kunitskaya, I think gonna be some money coming on her. I got her at plus 120. She's probably now at plus 100. So there it makes difference, guys. If you bet like $50, a month, easily you can get this $10 packs if you like my strategy and the picks are right and the bets are right. It comes back pretty easily. For 15 is all the pro bets line by line as I have it here. As an example for the previous cards. It's line by line how much money I'm taking on either one, and as always, I don't hide anything, guys. In this one was just a tiny profit on the nearly 1 minute profit on the props that I took. Obviously some of them I lost, some of them I win. Now, so it's line by line everything that I'm doing for 15 and focus on the props. For $50, it's the ultimate package, which I show line by line. It's pretty much the same, but with all the parlays and the single bets that I take. So as real quick to run examples here. For the latest card, I had a small loss, if I'm not wrong here. It was nearly 1.5 unit loss because I had bets, quite a bit bets on Ige and Samuel's Burger, so both of them lost, so I ended up losing a little bit, but the rest of the things made up, that's why it was not a big profit, a big loss, sorry. And obviously I had great cards in the past, such as this one, UFC Fight Night 188, which was nearly 13 units profit, in one card, which is pretty good, So this strategy is a winning strategy in the long run, And the reason I diversify so much is because my accuracy is given on the. I'm not taking such huge chances in one single bet. Rather, I trust my analysis. I beat the bookies by the knowledge and by doing things right, and obviously not relying on one single outcome. Rather, in multiple of them. That's why when I lose little. When I win, I may win like little, medium, or high. But the consistency is there, as you guys know, as you guys have been following me. Alright, so guys, again, thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Until the next time, this is Sam from Zhalgas, bringing the best, most consistent and transparent betting strategy for you.